Synthaholics.
Welcome to Synthaholics. Thank you so much for downloading this episode. Today we are talking about Star Trek Discovery, episode People of Earth. Today you have these two people of Earth. I myself, Aaron O'Brien, and David Duncan. Hello,
what do you
Dave.
Mean, you people of Earth?
You people, you're always just letting other people not come to your planet.
Being people.
Not letting those people from Titan helping those people from Titan.
Teen Titans? Wait, what?
Teen Titan?
He looked older than a teenager.
He looked much older.
Or does Titan also age you very fast, like the deserts of Dune?
I'm sure,
and
absolutely. And Tatooine. So, People of Earth, we are talking about the episode of Star Trek Discovery called People of Earth. This is Season 3, Episode 3, and it aired October 29th, 2020, directed by our friend, your friend, everyone's friend, Jonathan Frakes.
A.K.A. Aaron O'Brien.
Well,
if you... Just Aaron O'Brien looks a lot like animated Riker from Short Treks. I mean, not Short Treks, Lower Decks. They do look surprisingly alike.
Interesting. So we non spoilers for this episode. Dave, what were your thoughts on this?
It was kind of plotting. Like it felt a little bit like a Picard episode where like not a whole lot happened. There's some interesting plot points like for the overall plot. Again, some of that granular writing is just like getting on my nerves. I just really wish Lower Decks writers were allowed to write on Discovery, because the writing that was so sharp, and then coming to Discovery, it's still just been a little bit lackluster. Just interpersonal dialogue and some other things kind of grate me. We've got some interesting developments. Some are kind of dumb, but some of them are really interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the more interesting ones pan out. How about you?
So interesting that they obviously they go to Earth in this episode. That's not really giving away too much, but it has some interesting. I was interested to see Earth. I was kind of like, where is this going? But it's like as Discovery goes, it's like it's just telling a little piece of the puzzle at a time. So you don't get like a strong through story for one episode. It's just like a part of the story. So this isn't maybe the most interesting part of the story. It has a couple interesting facets to it, but that's about it. You know, it's just. I mean, you have to. I'm sure this will fit in with all the rest of the stories that for the season, but it's just sort of just like, okay, we just kind of went to Earth. All right. I mean, there was a little thing going on, but nothing too crazy. So
it's kind of like, I kind of wish they would have just rolled all these three together into like a pilot, because I feel like, you know, the first episode was part 1 of the pilot, the second episode was part 2 of the pilot, and this is like part 3 of the pilot. You know what I mean? Like it just feels like we're just getting our bearings after 3 episodes, and then maybe we can kind of like get going. You know what I mean? Like.
The only thing I would say that there's some aspects of Discovery that the other 2 seasons have missed. Season 2 sort of got it with Pike, but most of it is like the Starfleet and the optimism of Starfleet that we just never seem to have got in the past couple seasons. This one, at least I feel like they're striking on it.
But that's the bizarre thing, is that like it doesn't exist in the first 2 seasons of Discovery, and Starfleet's kind of shady, like super shady, like talk about blowing up Kronos and all the Section 31 opening in the public eye, and then like now we've got these people in the future who are like harkening back to the Federation like it's the best thing ever, while people contemporary to the Federation mocked it throughout every single series TNG, original series, Voyager, DS9. I mean, like, Federation was consistently mocked throughout by the alien races that were not a part of it. Hell, Bajor wasn't even sold on it for a long time.
Yeah. My point only being is that, like, I think they finally got the right stride for what the Federation Starfleet's supposed to be. I think they finally got it. I think it took them forever to find it. I think they hit it when they got Pike's character. Pike's character definitely felt like Starfleet, but everyone else felt like it was like a spy novel set in the Star Trek universe, which it just didn't feel right.
Yeah, it did not feel right, and the reason Pike had it is because he was off on his weird 5-year mission, which they hadn't ever done before, and he was just isolated from everyone, like, and that's why
I believe
so
in
pure.
Truth, honesty, and the American way. I mean, the Federation way.
So in 5 years, they just went so dark and corrupt. Like, how? Why? Like, it's just.
I don't think they went necessarily dark and corrupt, but let's face it, you had Captain Lorca as your captain, so that was like we didn't know about it, but
he's the best captain ever.
But he was like the bad guy. Then you were into this mirror universe, and you had this insane battle with the Klingons, which we didn't see much of it, but apparently the Klingons were kicking our ass. And so you had all that for just season 1. And then obviously season 2 was like, not as dark, but it was like more of a race against time against this thing called Control, and then Section 31 sticking their nose into everything. So Section 31 was all cloak and dagger shit. So
yeah, which Cornwell knew all about.
I knew about this, guys. Sorry. Well, let's talk about full spoilers now about People of Earth. Listen to me. All right, so this is going to get into full spoilers. So if you haven't seen People of Earth, you can pause this episode, or if you don't care, or if you have seen it, let's go right ahead. So we get into, as we thought would be, a kind of a backtrack of everything that happened to Michael Burnham in the year between when she was apart from the USS Discovery. So everything that she went through with like her time with Book, and you kind of just see like a montage of everything going on. So
her hair going so fast. They show like 50 ships on screen, and they all blow up.
Yeah, and they're all stuck together. I mean, obviously that was done just for effect, but apparently the burn, all of a sudden, what they say is the burn was just 1 minute for some reason, inexplicable reason, that all the dilithium became volatile, and if you were at warp or if your engines were running, they exploded.
Like, why is dilithium red now? It's red in the intro. It was always green before in the intro. I don't, and then also
it used to be white.
It used to be white or clear. So in Discovery season 1 and 2 it was green, in TNG it was white, and now it's red.
Right.
It's weird.
So Michael finds that there was a 12-year-old transmission from Starfleet Channel saying that Admiral Sina Tal was looking for anybody out there. And this is from Earth, so obviously far away. And it says they have to make their way back to Earth. But of course, that now that she's found Discovery, they can just jump onto the Spore Drive and get there in seconds flat.
Mm-hmm.
So they decide to go to Earth, and obviously they don't go right to Earth. They slowly go into the solar system, so it makes it look like they've been flying for a while, just so they don't freak with anybody's sensors,
except for the Titan people.
Yeah. So we find out there's a couple other things I want to just point out just before we move on with the story here. Michael joining up with the crew again. I know they were all happy to see each other, but it's like the tear jerky moments. It's just getting a little like, okay, we all love each other. It's like they've been through a lot. They've been through like the control thing and they went through the time portals and stuff like that. But it's like,
I agree. All the melodrama of Discovery is just really bad. And like I know Kirk was really hammy, but like everyone is like hamming like all this like this tearful reunion like
yes, and they're all tearing up.
Everyone on Discovery has
the only one who doesn't tear up is Saru, just because the actor can't do that with his makeup.
Yeah.
But it's got this music, and they're all like like hugging each other
and it's all
crying.
slow motion. And it's just it just rubs me. It just feels so ingenuine. It feels so forced. Everyone on Discovery saw Michael hours ago, like maybe 24 hours ago, like if that. Michael's the one who hasn't seen them in a long time. And even the conversation with Tilly later, Tilly's like, "I knew I'd see you again one day." I'm like, you haven't had the time to miss me.
Right.
It's been less than 24 hours since they came through the wormhole, crashed on the planet.
Let's be fair. Maybe it's been 48 hours. Let's be fair.
Okay.
Maybe it's been 48 hours.
Well, no, because
but,
they went through the wormhole, they crashed on the planet, it hadn't been dark yet. They beamed back after it was dark, and then they were trying to take off right after they got back, so their ice wouldn't crush them. So, I mean, I guess the time could have been longer than a 24-hour day on the planet, but didn't seem like it.
Right.
Probably less than 24.
I know. So I don't want to take away that they are like supposed to be like a kind of like a close family, and it's actually kind of nice. It's probably one of the more refreshing things about Discovery is that even though once in a while they get on each other's nerves, that they do have a deep care for each other. Like they have compassion and love for each other. It just gets a little bit like, oh, it's just everyone loves each other and let's all hug. I'm like, is this really how Starfleet works?
No, it's not. And just speaking of how Starfleet works, they're using dilithium completely wrong in this season. They're using it like gas. Dilithium's not gas. Dilithium stabilizes the antimatter-matter reaction. It is not gas. It is a catalyst.
Right, and they can recrystallize dilithium too sometimes.
Scotty figured out how to with nuclear power. So, I mean, like, it's...
the Klingon crystals.
Time crystals. Klingon crystals.
So... It's not like a huge deal, but it's just like one of those things that kind of like irked me right off the beginning. And I knew what was happening. I knew I was going to get that in the first 15 minutes.
Well, it was in the preview last week, so we knew.
I knew that we're going to have it, and it was like we even have a moment with Tilly and Michael, like kind of having like a catch up moment, and which is fine. I love Tilly. It just was sort of just like, and they're all teary. I'm like, what? Why are you crying? Like, I could see why Michael was a little more, because he spent a whole year out there not knowing if Discovery was even there or ever going to come through. I could sort of see that.
And then, like Tilly said to Michael that, you gave up on us.
You let us go.
You gave up on us. And Michael's kind of like, kind of.
Yeah, like it's been a year.
Like she didn't say anything, but look on her face was like, kind of.
But it's funny, too, because we get hints on this, and even a little later on with her discussion with Saru, she's like, I kind of like just broke out of my role from being in Starfleet. And I'm getting the impression that maybe Michael Burnham is not really like fit for being a Starfleet officer. She's good at it.
Oh, they're pushing that hard.
This is not what she wants to do.
Well, she's been in Starfleet for like a decade, and in 1 year of taking a break from Starfleet, she's like, yeah, fuck it.
Well, I mean, obviously she mutinied against Captain Giorgio.
It was expunged, so we can correct canon.
Yes, it was expunged. But I mean, and she's done about every other crazy thing. I mean, she gives Mariner a run for her money.
Yeah, I guess.
Anyway, so Burnham does go through what the burn kind of happened, but still nobody fucking knows why it happened.
And she's investigated it for a year and doesn't know much.
Well, but she also had been kind of stuck in a certain quadrant. She can't really go too far because of how, how the warp drives are very, very limited, so.
Yeah. They still haven't explained why communications are so limited. I mean, they explained the burn kind of where the lithium blew up and.
Well, something else with subspace, right? No, they don't. They don't talk about subspace.
The only thing they said was subspace was the Gorn had destroyed 2 light years of subspace. That was the only mention of subspace that I can recall in the first 3 episodes, other than the guy said the communications were limited, but he never said why. Like, what does the lithium exploding have to do with communications?
And usually they had relay stations even for their, to boost signals and stuff like that.
Which is why I'm still not. I mean, like the burn probably isn't the Omega particle, but at the same time, communications are relayed through subspace relays, and if subspace has been messed up because of the Omega particle, then that would kind of make sense why communications aren't working. But they haven't explained it one way or the other yet, so I'm kind of like, what? Come on, give me techno babble.
I blame the trans slugs. That's what I blame.
Yes.
They did it. So anyway, so Michael talks about that, gets everyone up to speed what the burn is or what she's figured out. And then at certain points, Michael Burnham, knights Saru as captain.
She's like, yeah, I don't care. I don't care about being captain anymore.
I don't really want to do that.
I want to go be a pirate with Book.
I know. Like, who doesn't? Really? Come on. Book's actually seems pretty cool. I like Book now. I was a little against him a little bit, and now he's kind of cool. I can get into him.
His uniform sucks. I've got a rash.
As I text you before, he's like a space druid.
Yeah, he's a space druid, which is other people like he's like a Jedi because he's got like force powers and he can like make plants grow.
I wonder if he's got like implants or something like that. I don't know, but
maybe.
It's 900 years in the future. I'm willing to give it some leeway on that, but. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, they kind of get up to speed there, and then Saru is now captain. I kind of felt weird that she has the power to make him captain, but I guess nobody else is going to be at this point, right? Nobody else is going to give him the promotion.
No. Oh wow. Where's the poor little guy that she conscripted to be a communications officer? He
raised
died.
The flag.
He died doing his duty.
He tried to raise a flag, and a flagpole impaled him and died.
That would be great.
Anyway, so so that's that. So they're and she also promised Book because she got him. Or she helped him out. She promised him that he could have one of the dilithium nuggets.
This is a dilithium chicken finger, not a nugget.
This is a nugget here. It's breaded dilithium. Chew on this shit. You're gonna see through time and space.
It's got spice crust on it. It's cinnamon flavored.
Spice encrusted dilithium. So Book is going to kind of go his own way. He's not really interested in what Michael has to do, even though they've been hanging out. And also, she contacted the people from Terralysium, and apparently they've never even heard of her mom. So I don't know who the fuck you're talking about.
I'm glad they finally mentioned her mom, because I'm like, really, 2 episodes we've not mentioned her mom at all, really?
Yeah, right.
But now it's just like a sub thing. Like, it's mentioned once in passing and never brought up again. And I'm just like, I feel like they kind of forgot about her, or they want to forget about her, and they're just gonna like write it off. Like,
we also find out that Giorgio kind of talks with Book and finds out that Book and her have never like been a thing or never were a thing.
That doesn't make any sense. Unless he doesn't swing that way and she doesn't swing that way.
Maybe he fucks cats.
Maybe he's super into cats.
Yeah, she's a queen.
Don't do the cat. She's a queen. Oh my gosh!
Fuck a cat.
Don't fuck the cat. Don't do it. Oh man.
Anyway,
I mean, there are
but
cat races in Star Trek, so maybe
there are, yeah.
maybe she could disguise herself as a regular cat, but she's really a Karen or something like that.
Or maybe she's the cat from what was the 1960s TOS like
Tashar or something like that. To Sarah.
no this Adam, oh, I can't remember it now. It's totally like left my brain. The guy I keep on saying is a Doctor Who. He's a Time Lord.
Yeah.
We covered the episode. I can't even remember now. It's going back so far. It's like my brain is a fart. But remember, we had the cat that turned into the woman.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
I can't remember the name.
God, I can't. Yeah, I know. We covered it. Operation something or other.
Yeah, no, it's not Operation Annihilate. That's a different one. Anyways, it'll come to me later. It just the episode escaped my brain.
We'll just shout it out.
Somebody's screaming at their headphones right now. It's not a mama.
Yeah.
Anyways,
sorry, people. We wish we could hear you through time and space.
Exactly. If you take this dilithium crystal, it's encrusted in spice. You can talk to us right now. Anyway, so they take Book with them. They put his ship in their cargo bay, and they take it to Earth.
They move the dilithium to his ship so they can cloak it and hide the dilithium so that they won't become a target immediately.
Which is why
I don't know.
Because he has a cloaking device.
How does the cloaking device hide the dilithium signature when there's like, I don't know. I thought it just helped you escape like visible sensors, not like, I don't know, magic. It's the year 3000.
Well, I mean, a cloaking device should cover up most of, that you can't see them. Right, but it is weird that it seemed like Michael Burnham basically said, I just loaded all the dilithium onto Book's ship. And Sru was like, I feel very uncomfortable about this. So, anyways.
They don't even need dilithium. They just spore drive everywhere.
But Sru says, he trusts her judgment, and he's grateful for that she supported him to be captain. So, and he's also kind of surprised that she has a lack of interest in being captain. But this is where Burnham kind of says, things kind of changed for me out here. So,
and she's not sleeping. That's the weird thing, that they're not sleeping together and things have changed. I mean, like, if she's like, into him and all that stuff like that, like, I could see her wanting to stay in that life more to be with him, but like, she's fine with letting him go, but she's still like, I don't know if I really want to like be real Federation. I'm gonna be kind of fake Federation for a while until I find my way back.
Right, exactly.
I'm gonna eat. I found spice while you were gone through, and it'll warp your brain.
I'm kind of addicted now.
She
called Arrakis.
She regularly like inhales that stuff that the little robot sprayed at her because she just loves that high.
Yeah, it's just
the truth serum high.
Yeah, the truth serum. Yeah, I go to this place called Arrakis. It's like Burning Man. It's crazy.
It's great. The Harkonnens are fantastically running this place. They'll be our best friends.
Don't worry, they're great. They have all the sex slaves you could possibly want. So Discovery gets to Earth, then finds out it has a force field around it, and they're not very friendly. And United Earth Defense Force is who's protecting the planet, not Starfleet, not the Federation. And
in fact, Starfleet headquarters has moved, and no one knows where.
They moved headquarters. Where? We don't know.
Yeah, they didn't leave a forwarding address
in the Academy. the Starfleet Academy is now a Walmart and a Sbarro's pizza joint. So that's it. In a rundown Wendy's. So
it's the Earth Defense Wendy's.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to Wendy's.
Wendy now has an eye patch and it says EDF on it.
And the burgers are awful.
They're instead of squares, they're now rhombuses.
Yes, there you go. But the Frosties are still good, so that's all right. Saru then, and so they have this. They invites the people from the Earth Defense Force to come and take a look at their ship because they don't believe them because they're saying, "Oh, we've been out in space for a long time," and he's like, "Well, your ship is like really old." Like, yeah, well, if it's nothing broke, why fix it? Good point. So at this point, Burnham goes back to her quarters with Book, and they all start putting on their Starfleet uniforms, and Book has to wear one too. So
He complains a lot.
Book gets. And I was like, I hate uniforms. Anyways, while they're there and they're talking to the people from the Earth Defense Force, we find out that there's a relentless man named Wen, and he just keeps on trying to steal our dilithium, and he'll stop at nothing. And then we meet this new crew, or one of the crew members of the Earth Defense Force. Her name is Ardea, or Adira.
Adira.
Yeah, and she seems like she's got like a keen eye for some of the engineering.
This glass cube's hooked up to the bridge.
Yeah, it's like, why is it in bridge controls? And then she's like, she's asking a lot of questions, and like Tilly even starts yelling. He's like, okay, we get it, you're smart, so. But she seems like she knows too much, and this kind of like makes Stamets go like, what is she doing? She's just not like a regular guard. Like, why is she doing this?
Because he asked her age, and she said she's 16. I'm like, I don't think she's 16.
You're 16. I don't think so. So we also find that Book is in the mess hall drinking synthahol. So we got a synthahol reference.
Synthahol reference. Woo! They know we're listening.
Then he finds out he can't get drunk, so.
Or watching.
They know we're listening, and they don't care.
Oh.
And so then we find out. Then also at this point that he's going to leave there, or he wants to get out of there soon. But apparently they got to just wait out this inspection from the Earth Defense.
It's weird. But Book and Michael are like not Han Solo, are like Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker in Attack of the Clones. They're always referencing these stories that they got into trouble and got themselves out of. Like through the entire episode, they're making weird references like that.
Yeah. Yeah, which is, I mean, they've been together a year, and, she was a courier. I forgot to mention that Michael became a courier during that time, so. But anyways, yeah, it's funny that, what's his name? Saru's like, you became a courier? He's like, well, I had to make a living somehow, and you weren't here.
I became a prostitute first, and that didn't work out very good because Book wasn't interested.
Book doesn't care. He won't buy my services.
I don't have enough.
He's only interested in the cats. Yeah, exactly.
I tried not shaving for a year, and that's why my hair is so long.
It would be really funny if the cat was like the size of a horse. That would be hilarious. Yeah. So anyways, during this time, then we find out that this when people show up, and they want to
they want the dilithium.
They want all the lithium. So, and then all of a sudden, during this point, that we find out that Michael and Book go onto Book's ship and just take off.
We fell into that nest of Gundarks?
And they just take off with all the dilithium, and like Saru's like, "What the fuck? You didn't even consult me. You just left with all the dilithium." And they're going to deliver all the dilithium to this Wen character, and they're like,
"Good thing Giorgio's there to read between the lines and interpret what's happening for Saru, because Saru's just clueless." Yeah. And Giorgio's like,
"Why would she do this?"
She's using her brain, Saru.
So she's flying towards them, and they're offering Wen all the dilithium on the ship, but obviously he's got to stand down to do that and to take them in. And then they do make the conclusion that their ships are pretty beat up, and they're not even in good shape like the couriers that they saw in their old quadrant. So they're really beat up for some reason, which will come clear later. But So during this, we find out that the people from the Earth Defense Force can't beam off the ship because it seemed like that the young 16-year-old Ardia, she
sabotaged the ship so she could stay on it
she
longer.
did something weird with the ship. She basically pulled some
She put some
hijinks where they can't beam out of there.
Yeah, she put some kind of like modulator in the spore drive panel.
Mm-hmm.
That's how she knew it was hooked up to the bridge, because she like hijacked their shields or whatever. It's like, ooh,
right.
Claw. I can exploit this.
So they're stuck on it, but then when these raiders are going to shoot at them and take oh no, not the raiders, the Earth Defense Force are going to shoot at Book's ship. Discovery flies in front of them to catch their torpedoes
and Discovery
instead.
Somehow doesn't explode into a giant fireball.
Well, they have shields, but the funny thing is to me is that what's her name?
Detmer. Detmer's acting completely normal this episode. They forgot that she was acting weird last episode.
No, she freaked out and she wasn't going to listen to Saru there for a minute.
Well, he
kept on going like, I gave you an order.
Well, she did freak out, but I mean, like, I think that's understandable. You're in 900 years in the future, and they've got weapons that way outclass you. She was right.
They said quantum torpedoes too,
which I guess
think that's what they said.
Okay, that's technically only 200-year-old new technology, but still, quantum torpedoes can put a giant hole in a Borg cube, or just just vaporize the thing. The fact that Discovery withstood that even with shields is laughable. Detmer was right to cause a fuss.
Well, but somehow the ship survived. It did knock down their shields.
It just immediately knocked down their shields. But Detmer, I mean, throughout the rest of the episode, she was not acting funny like she did in the last episode. I feel like her freak out this episode was completely warranted for being 900 years in the future and getting shot with current technology. Bad idea, Saru.
Well, anyways, I think what's her name? Giorgio was kind of given the clues to do that, to put them between the line of fire. But anyways, at that point, this Wen and their raiders lower or turn their weapons down to take the dilithium off of Book ships, and this is where somehow it's not explained, but
it's that thing they did with that thing, and they never explained what it was, and they don't show what it was. They just show up with the guy.
It's like, that one gets my nose broken or something like that. So anyways, they bring Wen over, and like I said, Wen looks like Black Manta from Aquaman.
He looks really cool.
It's pretty cool.
His glasses, his mask is all glowy and stuff. It's pretty cool. And
they want the Earth Defense people to talk with these people, Wen's people, and they find out when they finally start talking that Wen's people are from Titan. They've never wanted to talk for some reason. But Wen's people are from Titan, and Titan, the colony there, is completely failing. Earth has been a bunch of dicks. They're not sharing any of their resources at all with Titan. And they're like, well, maybe you guys could help them out. Like, well, maybe we can. Anyways, from there, so that kind of works out. And then we find out that the young girl, Adria, am I saying that right? Adria is, we find out that she's a Trill symbiont, and that she is Admiral Tall. So she because of the symbiont, she's the admiral in her, but she can't get like all the memories from them. She knows that it's there, but she just can't access them.
I wish it was Dax. That'd be nice to have that'd be nice to have a through line to canon we know, instead of it just being some Trill we don't know. I mean, I know it might be too cliche for it to be Dax, but I mean, of all the bad writing Star Trek Discovery's done, I wouldn't have been surprised if they did use Dax. And I would love a through line just to hear what Dax has done and seen since then. It'd just be nice to have a stable connection. I mean, Tall could be a friend of Dax. Who knows?
Or it could be Dax. We just don't know. It's just as Admiral Tall, so we don't know.
Well, they always go by the surname of the symbiont, so Tall is the name of the symbiont, I would assume.
Okay, it's possible. So she's going to stay aboard. And then we get a moment where Saru and Burnham are talking about her hijinks of just taking off with Book. And I don't know. There was a line that he said. He's like, "I guess we'll just have to presume that I'm supposed to keep trusting you," or something like that.
Yeah, he said something like the line of trust has to still be presumed, so that we can work as a first officer and captain.
Right. Yeah. So, anyways, and Book takes off, and then we also get some of the crew, Tilly, Detmer, and a bunch of other ones go down to the old tree at the academy that Picard talks about in Next Gen. Now it's giant.
Where's Boothby?
Exactly.
I want an 800-year-old Boothby. Yes, very good, Boothby.
But yeah, so it's still there, and it's even bigger than before. So somehow they kept that plant, that tree growing and still healthy. That's one crazy arborist keeping that tree alive. So
you mean none of the other threats to the Federation ever took down that tree?
I guess not.
Also, the Golden Gate Bridge is still solar panels. Still, you haven't figured out anything else in 700 something years from Picard.
Yeah. So and then and they're just hanging out there. So we get to see what Starfleet Academy looks like, even though it's not Starfleet Academy anymore. So, and that wraps up the show. Dave, thoughts, feelings about this episode?
Oh, God, I really wish. I don't understand like what they're doing with the with the show, like how they lose contact. Is communication that low they can't even communicate inside their solar system anymore? Like with Titan, it just is hard for me to buy that they can't even talk within the solar system, that things have gone that bad. Also, that Earth is completely self-sustainable without using the rest of the solar system also doesn't make a ton of sense. I mean, look at the Expanse. I mean, the Expanse is way less technological than even like TOS Star Trek, and they're working on the asteroids and have little colonies everywhere trying to like make use of the solar system the best they can to, fuel Earth. I mean, I know the Belters are trying to become independent and Mars is independent, but everyone relies on the Belt because you have to. I mean, we're running out of rare earth minerals right now. Asteroid mining is going to need to be a thing in the next 100 years, if not sooner.
Yeah.
I mean, just that Earth is self-sufficient and not using the rest of the solar system just makes absolutely no sense in the year 3000.
I mean, if you think about it, if they have replicating technology, if nothing really changed too much on that aspect, I could see Earth sustaining itself. Because, you could just take any matter and turn it into other matter and reorganize it into other matter.
I guess, but they always had these weird restrictions for things. A lot of times they couldn't just do metal. They had to so they still had to mine metal and.
It doesn't make any sense either. But not just that, but you're also talking 900 years of future, so there could be some breakthroughs.
I guess, but still, why would they be so isolated? Going from the military power that they were to just being so isolationist, it just seems kind of strange, and not not even attempting to control your own solar system seems really weird.
That just seem a little odd. Yeah, I would think they would have enough military might or ships to do that, non-warp ships. But
if something gets to Earth and that's your last line of defense, you're fucked. You should have things out in the Oort belt.
Nobody's traveling that far. That's the thing, Nobody's.
But a solar system. Even with limited warp capability, the dude in the guy who wanted to raise the flag said he can only see a 600 light year radius. 600 light years is approximately 1 year at warp 7 or 9 or whatever. Probably at warp 9, maximum warp. Because I did the math for Voyager's time home, and 600 light years basically is a year of traveling at max warp nonstop. So that is a large amount of space. Not large for Star Trek because they always go way further a whole bunch. But if that's the sensor range, it's decent enough so that you want more protection than just your solar system. Because the solar system is only a couple light minutes or light hours. You know what I mean? It's not big in the scheme of space. So it just seems really weird that like they have no control over their solar system, like at all. Like the Kardashev scale of civilizations. A Type 1 civilization has full control over their planet, and a Type 2 has complete control over their solar system. So in 1,000 years, Earth still isn't even a Type 2. They're just Type 1. And like right now, we're at like on the Kardashev scale, we're like at 0.75. So I mean, 1,000 years in our future, we're not even past a 1 is kind of baffling. I don't know. It just. I just feel like the writers are not in touch with science or how things progress, and
what with me is more of, so they're saying, or that they were saying, the people from Titan saying that Earth was hoarding all the dilithium,
yes,
that they had. So that means they would have warp capable ships.
They would theoretically, yes, but
so,
it doesn't seem like. It doesn't seem like they have anything. It seems like they're completely isolationist. They never even spoke with Titan. So apparently their communicators don't even go that far, which also doesn't make sense, because the guy in the first episode, he said he could call out to those 2 ships within a 600 light year radius. Titan's not that far to make a phone call. Like, I just don't understand.
I know. Yeah.
I mean,
it's far, but not that far.
Yeah, it's not 600 light years, and that was the length of how far you can make a communication. So I don't understand, it just was making me shake my head. Like, the writing just doesn't make a lot of sense for like the world they're setting up here. It's hard to buy when like the Expanse is like more technologically advanced, and at this point, which is kind of crazy as far as controlling the solar system.
I mean, how long ago did they say the burn happened? Like over 100 years ago?
120-ish years ago.
So, I mean, that's not a long time, but if you think about that, Starfleet lost all its ships almost all suddenly, other than saving a few, right?
Sure.
They kind of would make Starfleet completely inert. Like there's nothing it could do. Like,
yeah, but surely the fires of Mars have gone out, or they moved their shipyards to a different planet inside the solar system. Shipyards are going to be inert ships that they're working on. Like, they're not just.
I agree with that. I agree with that for sure. But my point only being is like, how fast can you keep rebuild, and not just that, but then that's the thing, is the burn's not really mapped out too well for us.
Well, in 10 years, after the Romulans lost their planet, they built an entire giant armada of ships, even though they were third-class citizens and, despots.
But they only lost a planet.
Yeah.
They only lost their homeworld.
And I'm sure they lost a ton of ships while they lost their homeworld, too.
They had a whole empire, too, so they had, probably hundreds of planets to draw from. That's why the whole Romulan thing didn't make a ton of sense, just because a planet, there's home planet blew up. I mean, devastating as that would be,
you still have a giant empire. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
just move your capital. We moved the capital of Philadelphia to Washington.
Yeah.
It can be done.
It's doable. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just have a lot of issues with just how Earth functions in this episode. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Seems pretty self-sufficient.
I mean, they did say it was They did say it was self-sufficient, but having no outside feelers at all just seems really strange. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I guess that's probably the point, but it still just irks me because it doesn't make a lot of sense. That's my big issue with the episode. And then otherwise, it's just, not a whole lot happened. We meet the person. The kid's super smart, and then when they say she's a Trill, it's like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. She's got all these memories, but then at the same time, she can't access them. And I'm like, well, how is she so smart then? I don't know. What about you? What are your thoughts?
Like I said before, it was good to see them go to Earth, but then it's like, did it really go anywhere? Other than them just finding out this is a dead end. And that's always kind of like Discovery's thing, is that they kind of hit a dead end a couple times before they go anywhere.
Yeah.
Besides that, I mean, it was somewhat interesting just to see them go there and see that Earth is kind of just become isolationist and kind of greedy fucks, and they're not even part of the Federation anymore. So they're off. they're out of the charter. They're out of the whole thing. So
Yeah.
they're obviously the people who forged the what it was. So disappointing, but I guess it's what the hand we're dealt for this this world.
I mean, I think that just goes back to what I was saying last season, is that, like, things are going to be really fucked up in the future, and Michael Burnham's going to be the one that fixes it. She's going to get Earth back in the Federation. She's probably going to make it the capital again. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. And then, I don't know. It's there's been a lot. I mean, we were talking a little bit before about the exchange between Saru and Burnham. That doesn't bother me as much. We were talking, I think, before we start recording.
Yeah.
How that irked you, like the writing.
Well, I mean, just how, like, the hug whenever she transports over is irking to you. Like, to me, that's not nearly as bad as the dialogue between Saru and Michael. It just their interpersonal dialogue together is just bothersome. Like, whenever she was going to die, it's just way too melodramatic, and it just feels weird and off to me for Star Trek. I don't know. It's just weird. Not a fan of it.
I thought that last moment where he's setting up the telescope from, Prime Giorgio, Captain Giorgio's, setting that up, and they're talking, and he's like, I guess I'm just going to have to, try to, even though you do crazy shit, I'm just going to have to implicitly trust that you have our best interest in mind. Which is kind of a shitty place to be, but then also they he's like, they make a comment which I thought was touching, that it's something about her being allowed to grow, and that he would support her in her growth, and then she would do the same thing for him. So which is true, and Saru has gone through some changes in the last, especially last season, so he's not as he's not the
docile
cowardly lion thing anymore. So I thought that was touching. I kind of like that Burnham feels like more of a wild child a little bit now. I mean, I guess she always was, but she always seemed to be like carrying baggage, and now she felt like, I think even Tilly said that she seems lighter now or something like that. So maybe because she was not under the idea of, I'm in a Federation, I have to follow all these rules.
But she's got all new baggage now. Like, it's very evident that she's got a whole year's
I know,
worth
and
of
that's
new
what
baggage.
that's the thing,
like,
is
she
like
doesn't
the new
seem
baggage
lighter
thing
to
is.
me.
I thought she did at first, and I thought she, but then she's saying I had to do some crazy shit. I'm like, okay, we're gonna get the haunted Burnham thing again. Can we just be like, maybe Burnham had a fucking great time with Book for a whole year? Maybe that could be it. Could we just do it? Maybe she just had a great time, and she didn't need to be a Federation officer for a year. She took a year off, and she had a great time. She
took a sabbatical.
Went to some crazy. She has, she kicked some. She was a courier. She kicked some ass. She made some money. They had fun. They were running with thieves. It was a good time. Maybe she liked that. I don't know. That's the thing with Burnham, is always sort of, she's so emo half the time, and it's like I get frustrated with it.
Yeah, I'm just
kicked for some reason.
Oh, the printer. Yeah,
I don't know why.
I agree. She's just. That's part of why I don't like her interactions with Saru, is because, like, her emo is, like, always the worst when she's talking with Saru.
Her emo is always kicked up, and it frustrates me because she doesn't need to be emo. I get it in the first season, okay? I get it. That makes sense. But then we moved past it, and she was getting better.
And then season 2, she's emo because of Spock. And then season 3, she's emo because of her sabbatical.
And the sabbatical should have been like the kick-ass time. Like, I was kicking ass, taking names. It was great. So I don't know. That kind of gets under my skin. And like I said, the hugging thing, it didn't kill it for me. It just were like, all right, can we just? It just feels like it's like they're doing a victory lap. I'm like, for what? The season just started.
Yeah, I know. It's like this. It's like the Discovery's like. It's like the every child gets a trophy thing.
Yeah.
Like, no matter if they finish like first or like 60th place. Like every kid gets a trophy. That's what Discovery feels like. Like we don't have that like discipline feel from like Next Gen. And I mean, sure, some people had some interpersonal communicate, stuff, and they got maybe more touchy feely when they weren't at work. But I mean, like, it's just weird that it doesn't feel like Starfleet. It just feels like teeny bopper drama show in space on a starship, not like a military organization like Star Trek has always been. You know what I mean? Like it almost seems like teen drama-y.
Yeah.
Like
you know what it feels like? It feels like the science team went on a field trip and then got lost somewhere in that field trip. They're still the science team, but they're just trying to survive out there in the world now or something like that, it doesn't feel like they're like regimented military people. They're just like a bunch of science kids.
And I mean, I guess
that's a cool story in itself, but that's not Star Trek,
Yeah, that's not Star Trek. That's not Starfleet. And Lorca made fun of them for being so terrible at fighting or whatever and using their ship to fight. And it's just like, but why? Like, this is part of getting out of Starfleet. I mean, just because your main goal is pacifism doesn't mean you're not trained how to fight. Kirk knew how to fight. Kirk was a brilliant tactician. Like, it was irksome to me that like they've made the Federation so docile, like that they're just they need the mirror universe to help them. Like they need Georgia. I love Georgia. She's great, but it's like Saru can't figure anything out that's not pacifism without Giorgio.
Giving him pointers. That's the other thing is Giorgio. I mean, she has like 2 moments. Well, maybe 3. She gets information out of a book about her relationship with Burnham, and then she smashes the guy's helmet or pulls his helmet off and finds out he's just a regular human from Titan. And then also she kind of, like you said, she like clues Saru in that Michael's making a change, or making a daring move to save everybody, or kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's while there's tidbits of interesting things going on here, it's not a great episode. Adria's character seems most interesting out of all this. Don't really know much about her other than she's got the Trill in her. So
she's got the Trill in her. She's the one character. She's one of the 2 people that was cast. They got all the hubbub about being, the non-binary character or whatever in the show, and like the fact that she's got a Trill in her just kind of makes that even like less interesting, I guess, because I mean,
because we got that back in TNG
and in TOS. I mean, not TOS. I mean DS9. I mean, we have Dax. I mean, like, Trills are inherently non-binary because they've lived so many different lives. So,
right,
like,
exactly.
I mean, granted, she's not a Trill, but she has a Trill in her. And so the fact that she's like all, and if he died 12 years ago, that means she probably had the symbiont in her since she was 4.
Well, it doesn't mean he could have died. He could have died and the Trills put into her. So they said that he died like 2 years ago.
Oh, 2 years ago. Okay, so she was 14 when they had the thing put into her.
But, the thing is, too, like, okay, so let's say they go to Trill, which looks like they're doing next episode, and, they're going to find out more about this Admiral Tall.
Yeah.
If they take the Trill out of her, okay, if they do that, what is she then? Is she just becomes a normal 16-year-old girl?
I don't know. I thought with Trill biology, if you remove the Trill, they die. Because they did a whole episode about Dax having the Trill in her, and the guy wanted it, and they were taking it out of her, and she was going to die because of it. They gave Riker a Trill, and they took it out of Riker, put it into another Trill, because Riker doesn't have the right physiology for the Trill to really fully take it on. Although Riker got all the memories, because Riker was trying to bone Beverly because he had the memories. So I don't understand why this girl doesn't have the memories. So they took it out of Will, and he didn't die because he's human, I guess. So I'm guessing they can take it out of her without her dying. But maybe they'll just like let her keep it and like just unlock the memories or whatever. For basically, they're creating a bump on the road. So like next episode's going to be let's get over this next bump on the road that doesn't need to be there. If they're going to Trill to unlock the memory or to move the symbiont.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, oh, come on, guys.
I don't know if it doesn't need to be there, but it's more of just like...
Well, Riker had all the memories, and he was a human. I mean, he wanted to bone Beverly because the Trill wanted to bone her so bad.
Beverly. Not you, Riker. But I don't know. I guess so. I just get like that's not a terrible story plot there, and maybe the character will be interesting.
I mean, I think it's interesting. I just think it's like it's kind of like laughable that like they were just like they're like, oh, we've got a non-binary person in the show, and like Trills are all basically all symbiote Trills are non-binary because they switch back and forth. I mean, like they're like, I remember what it's like to be a man, I remember what it's like to be a woman. Like it's cool, everything's fine. Like it's everything.
Well, Cisco called Dax old man all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like that. How much more he used man pronouns for her.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Right.
So I mean, it just was like, I mean, they were already kind of there, and then the fact that this new one is cast as a non-binary character in Star Trek, and they're making them a Trill, it's kind of like, well, this has already been done. This isn't new ground. And because they put her on the ship, I mean, maybe she'll get more screen time than some other people. But like I said, I mean, who's going to suffer because of it? Is that we can get no Tilly or we can get less Stamets? I mean, Tig wasn't in this episode, so Tig will probably be one of the ones that we never see, except a couple episodes.
And also, we didn't get Jet Reno.
That's what I mean. Tig's the name of the actress. Jet Reno.
No,
that's what I meant. No Jet Reno, but
I just mean, but we just didn't get her at all in this episode. I'm like, come on, we can't have her even for a few scenes.
No, I mean, like, I mean, we'll probably only get her like 2 or 3 episodes, kind of like last season. She was in like 2 or 3, and then that was it. I mean, like, this girl will probably be more important because she's a new character, so we'll probably have her in for more, at least the next couple episodes if they're going the Trill, and the Trill part is important. So her importance to the story is more than Jet Reno. So.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just like I said, I just feel like they're not treading new ground with a non-binary person being Trill, because that's basically all joined Trills.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you on that. When I found out she was a Trill, I was sort of just like, okay, so like that's been like a thing since like the 90s. So like, I mean, we're not like changing anything for that. I mean, if she just was like, I'm non-binary, you have to call me by they, them. I'd be like, okay, this would be interesting to see play out in a story. I'd be interested in seeing that. But they're calling her still a she. So I don't know what that means yet. So I don't know if maybe maybe when she gets the Trill taken out, she changes her orientation. I just don't know yet.
Oh, they'll probably make it killer like it does other Trills, even though it doesn't kill humans and they take it out. So who knows? Maybe she'll get to keep it. I mean, I would guess she would get to keep it.
You get to keep the Trill. You get to keep a slug inside you.
Just what I always wanted.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. So the episode was kind of because I enjoyed the last 2 episodes. I liked the opening and I liked the second. This one was a little bit of a sleeper. It wasn't terrible. It just was like, like you said, there are some disparities with Earth, communication, transportation. They just have not spelled it out that well for us. It seems vague, so vague, and you'd think we'd have a better understanding about what's happening. Maybe they'll explain it further. I'm just not getting it.
Maybe. I don't get it either. I hope they explain it, but I feel like they're just never going to touch on it again. They're just going to gloss over it because this is Star Trek Discovery.
Well, no, I think the burn thing is part of the thing about them. This has got to be the thing. It's this. The burn is control. The burn is the Klingon War, or whatever you want to call the mirror universe of this episode. I mean, that's what it is. Yeah. That's what we're going to be dealing with. I don't think it's going to be anything else. I think it's going to be 13 episodes unraveling what the burn is and then fixing it and putting the Federation together. That's what I think it's going to be.
Yeah, probably.
But the things I did like the idealism. Like Saru made the people of Earth and Titan talk to each other. Like, oh, when's the last time you talked? It seemed a bit forced, but it's like, yeah, well, maybe you should talk, you dumbasses. Like just instead of shooting at each other constantly. And that felt more like regular Star Trek to me.
Yeah, it did.
You know,
It's almost like
get them in a room and start talking.
it's almost like Enterprise, just like force them into a room and make them talk.
Yeah. I liked Adria's I mean, obviously she's a Trill and she's got the Admiral's symbiote in her, so it makes her a little different. But like her wanting to be a part of Starfleet, like this is why she joined the Earth Defense Force. So hopefully she could, hook up with a Starfleet ship. So
Makes sense.
I like that part. So
Yeah, I mean, it's got some promising aspects of it, but just a lot of it was just raised so many questions for me. It just is kind of irking that it didn't seem well thought out. But other than that, there's some interesting breadcrumbs, which I'm excited to see them follow. So hopefully the Trill stuff will be good and interesting next week.
yeah, absolutely. Anything else you want to bring up for this episode?
That's it.
All right, man. Well, guys, if you have anything further, if you have something you agree with or disagree with, or a point that we're not seeing, please contact us. You can email us at synthaholics@yahoo.com. We'd love to hear from you there. You can also tweet us at Synthaholic Duo. You can also hit us up on our Facebook group, Facebook.com/groups/Synthaholics. You can talk to us there. And if this show is something you'd like to support, please go to our Patreon, Patreon.com/Synthaholics. And you can help us out monetarily. That would be wonderful. All right, Dave. Next week, we are getting into more Discovery. And what's that episode called? That one will be Forget Me Not.
Forget me not. Get that Trill stuck in me.
That's right. But yeah, so Forget Me Not, and hopefully we'll see the planet Trill, so that'll be cool. All right, guys, until next week, live long and prosper, one and all.
Well, McCoy, my boy, come mix me a drink. Before the night's over, I'll puke in the sink, and we'll cry till we laugh, and we'll both shit our pants. You're the best drinking friend I ever had.
Woo, Discovery!
Discovery.
Episode 2 was the best one so far, I think.
Yeah, it's really good. I saw somebody took a, I think it was on Camp Kidmer, and they were saying they went on vacation in Iceland, and that's where they filmed those 2 episodes in Iceland.
Oh, that's cool.
I didn't know that, but that's cool. Yeah. Nice stuff. It's good.
Well, hopefully next week will be even better. Did you like that Tuvok thing in the that game?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, what game was that for?
Fallout 4. I was like, huh.
Oh,
Yeah, that came out in 2015. I don't think
was it? Okay.
I don't think I'd ever like gotten to him, that character, before, because I didn't really mess with that faction. And I was like, oh look, that's definitely Tuvok.
yeah, it's funny. Is he only just in that one little spot?
Yeah, but
Like that one character, like you only run into?
yeah, he's just that one character. But like I sided with his group of people on my last playthrough, so I saw him a couple times. He talked to me a couple different times. He probably only was in the recording booth like an hour tops, because I think he only had a couple minutes of dialogue. So I mean, just however many times you wanted him to do it, but he does not try to change his voice at all. Like Tim Russ is Tim Russ.
Yeah, I wonder if Tim Russ ever does anything else. Like, does he have anything under his, like, does he been in other shows since Voyager?
I'm sure he has, but I mean, like, Tim Russ, I mean, this is a VO part. He could have, like, tried to do anything, like, try to sound more gruff or whatever, and it's just straight up Tim Russ. I just
Signature Tim Russ.
Yeah, it was just, normally when people do VO, like, they do all sorts of crazy things. Like, there was a Fallout New Vegas video, because Kaylee's playing New Vegas now, and we found a video that showed all the different voice actors. There was a couple voice actors who did like completely different parts and sounded completely different, and Tim Russ is just this one guy sounding like Tim Russ.
What was I gonna say? Tim Russ. Oh, did you see that post that Dave Kish put on about the monkey's paw?
Yeah.
Wishes. So there was there was a Simpsons episode where they find this monkey's paw, and it's like every year they would do a Halloween episode where it'd be all these creepy like stories, and Homer, like they're in the Middle East, and Homer gets like from some trader gets some monkey's paw that every time you make a wish, that one of the fingers go down,
Oh yeah.
and it would give you a wish, but the wish would like be like cursed.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It's like,
like,
it gives you what you want, but like something bad also happens that's probably worse than what you wished for.
Part of the wish is part of the curse too. So, so that was like the idea. Like the Homer at the very end, like everyone's wishing for all this stuff, and like they get like it was all this terrible stuff happens, and Homer at the very end of the episode says, "I want a turkey sandwich, and I don't want zombie meat, and I don't want like it to be stale." And he's like giving all these contingencies, and then he starts eating it, and he goes, "Oh my god, the turkey's dry," and that's just like the end of the episode. Yeah. But when he wishes for another Star Trek episode, it's Chakotay. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, yeah,
it's so funny.
That would be the monkey paw thing.
Yeah.
Although Janeway and Prodigy might be pretty bad.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.